I know you guys, I'm surprised to see me on Saturday because usually I don't come on here and do this, but this is an improv stream. I feel like we got to talk about it. Got to talk about the Sixers locker room and talk about what is going on. We're going to talk about the Fed 76ers. We got to talk about it this afternoon. Let's get into it because there has been a lot going on. You guys follow my channel. You saw I did a video on Tuesday night talking about talking about the team meeting after the loss to the Miami Heat, where Kyle Lowry called a team meeting. Maxey was upset that Embiid was late to the meeting. I did a whole video about that. But we're going to talk about this thing as a whole, what's going on in the Sixers locker room. Now, I know it's been talked about a lot. It's been one of the key discussions, but usually I don't talk about this type of drama. But being obviously that my team is, well, the Sixers, I'm going to chime in and talk about it. It's not looking good. Like I said, we're off to a 3-11 start. Yes, we did get a win yesterday against the Brooklyn Nets. It was mostly the Maxey and Jared McCain show that carried that game to a win. But overall for the season, obviously it's not good. We're 3-11. Our big three this offseason and the big roster shuffles we made, adding Paul George to the picture, moving Embiid and Maxey, keeping Embiid and Maxey. We did a lot of other changes. We got a lot of our bench players are gone. We got some new bench players, Caleb Martin. Kyle Lowry's back, but we got Eric Gordon, so many other pieces here that are new, but it's not panning out so far. We're off to a 3-11 start. The trio of Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George only played one game together, and that was against the Grizzlies. But now both Embiid and Paul George are injured. They didn't play yesterday. Sixers still won against the Nets, but now they got to play the Clippers, a Clippers team who might, without Embiid and George tomorrow. So that's one of the problems right there. We got this big three that's supposed to help us this time around. Paul George going into the season, it was the perspective of you got Embiid and Maxey. Now you're taking a veteran in Paul George who knows the game, he was considered a leader, taking a slight step back so he doesn't have to wear and tear on his body, and he'll be the number 3 guy. That was the expectation going into the season. And yet, so far, that trio has only played one game together out of the 14 games thus far, and they won't play together at the same time tomorrow. Only Maxey of the 3 will be playing tomorrow against the Clippers. So that's one major problem right there. We don't have the 3 guys that are supposed to be our big 3 playing together. And that's various factors, injuries. I understand players early in the season might take some time to rest. Load management plays a role in it. But it's absolutely ridiculous that you get these 3 guys in, they can't even be bothered to get on the court and stay there for the same time. It's always one thing or another. It's a knee injury. It's something during the preseason. But that's number one, the reason why I wasn't so high on Paul George. I didn't think he was the greatest thing in the world when they signed him because of his injury history. He's had at least about 30 injuries or something. We talked about it on the Pick and Roll podcast, episode 98 back on Wednesday. Me, Rios, Mitch, and Blazed Radio talked about. He's had about 30 plus injuries in his career. So you're bringing a guy who's constantly injured, number one. There's a big mistake. There's a problem right there. That's why I wasn't the highest on him. I said back in June, The Sixers should stay clear from Paul George. You guys remember, as we're around Father's Day weekend, I dropped a short video on my channel saying I wouldn't be high on Paul George because of his injury history. One of the biggest problems with the Sixers throughout the process has been staying healthy. I didn't want him to take a chance on a guy who's had a history with injuries and struggles to stay healthy. Sure enough, that's what the Sixers did. They took that chance on Paul George anyway. And so far, he hasn't really played much. And the other problem in this one has been we've been seeing our star player, the former league MVP, Joel Embiid, has been signaling he doesn't want to be with the Sixers. It's been kind of giving those hints that he's not really interested in playing. It's in showing with the fact that he hasn't been on the court much. You factor that in. And then you had the team meeting that Kyle Lowry called on Monday after the loss to the Heat. He wanted everyone in the locker room have a players meeting, which these things are common in sports. Like we said, Blaze talked about it on the Pick and Roll podcast. But in this case, you have Joel Embiid, the MVP, not showing up on time for this meeting. He's late for this meeting. He's supposed to be the guy leading the way. You would think the player that's leading the way would be at these meetings on time, but he's not. Instead, he's showing up late. The guy that everyone in the locker room looks up to lead the way in a players' meeting, he's not there on time. How does that look for the chemistry of the team when the star player of the team is not on the same page with everyone else? That's obviously a big problem right there. So that's the first problem we have. Then the second problem, is we haven't gotten these guys on the court together to play as a team. They haven't had time to build chemistry. They're relying on guys that really aren't suited to step up and be the lead role. There's meant to be role players that step up and be the lead guys. And so far, the only ones that have done that have consistently played the most are Tyrese Maxey and rookie Jared McCain. So far, it's shown that Jared McCain was a good pick. And with Embiid, the way he's been going this season, he hasn't been playing much. And according to Maxey, like I said in that whole team meeting, he's been late for everything, quote unquote, which is Maxey's dropping the hint that Embiid has been late to team meetings, probably late to the one thing that one of our famous Sixer players, one of the beloved Philadelphia 76ers players, he gets treated like a god, doesn't show up to, and that is practice. Right. He doesn't show, he's probably not showing up to practice. And so that's a red flag right there. The fact that Embiid hasn't really been showing up much. And furthermore, another problem with this whole situation is the way Embiid's gone about it. Apparently, it's been reported. Now, we don't know if it's how much this is true or false, but Embiid supposedly is not happy that somebody leaked the 76ers locker room situation. He wants to get mad about it, apparently. Now, so far, all this whole year with Embiid, it's been drama after drama after drama after drama. It's been problem after problem after problem with this guy. First, he hasn't played much. He's been there on the team, but he's not stepping on the court much and playing. That's the first big problem. Then you had the incident where he shoved the reporter. And I understand the reporter made an inappropriate remark, and I understand he got upset. So I'm not necessarily faulting him for being upset. The way he went about it was unprofessional, especially for a star player. The media likes to pocket watch what star players are doing. And Embiid's one of those players. They keep an eye out on their stars at all times. If something big happens with them, they can't wait to talk about it. That's something that when you're a star with a lot to lose, you got to keep an eye out and say, hey, you get mindful that sometimes people are waiting for you to mess up. People want to knock you down a few pegs sometimes. And sometimes the media, they're looking for a star player to do something because they love controversy. Media loves controversy because that drives in ratings and drives in cash. So if you're Embiid, you got to understand how you respond to these situations professionally or unprofessionally plays a big role, especially if you respond unprofessionally. The media likes to talk about it because it gives them headlines, and controversy helps create cash. And that's something the media feeds off of. They love controversy. They love to make scandals out of drama. They love it. So the mistake, though, Embiid did make was pushing that reporter and giving the media something to talk about. And then, after so it was that as well. Then he's showing up late to meetings. That became a big deal. Now he's supposedly mad that somebody leaked this information, which well, I don't know for sure how he responded because all these different like sport, like Bleacher Report, all these other like sources, like some of these no-name sources are reporting it too. People just trying to get their name out there, going for clicks, taking something that was leaked by like the Bleacher Report and running with it just to try to give their website some clicks. Now, we don't know as to how true this is about him being mad about everything being leaked, but if it's true, that's a sign that Embiid's being egotistical and he's handling the situation immaturely. Particularly, he's reacting to the backlash from him being late for the meeting immaturely if he's mad about someone leaking it. So that spells a sense of immaturity and ego on Embiid's part. And we've seen moments out there where Embiid has shown signs of being egotistical. He's had a bit of a big head, so to say, in terms of his attitude toward things. Like case in point, remember last year during 2023 during the playoffs, he's like, me and Maxey can't be alone. Like he said, me and James can't win alone. Remember in the Celtics series, then in Game 7, him and James Harden both laid massive eggs individually in that Game 7. Meanwhile, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey played better than them individually. So that was a bit looking back on a bad moment. The point being is there is a history of Embiid being egotistical. And he at times has teased the idea of reuniting with Jimmy Butler. Now, sometimes we know Embiid likes to troll, but he gets to the point sometimes where he trolls way too much. He treats the being a troll thing like it's an everyday thing, like it's an everyday part of his life. The problem with that is sometimes he doesn't know when to take things seriously and step back. That's the problem with Embiid is sometimes in these situations. He does not know when to step back and start taking things more serious. And we see that right here. He's still being kind of a troll about this situation. Now he's supposedly upset that conversation got leaked because it puts him in a bad light. If that's the case, then that's a big red flag about his ego. Big red flag. And now it's gotten to the point where fans are actually suggesting that we trade Embiid and build around Tyrese Maxey. First, it started during the offseason. Fans suggested, you know what? Maybe we build around Maxey and get a new team going there. And now with Jared McCain's emergence this year, some people are thinking, okay, maybe we build around Maxey and McCain, trade Embiid, move on, start over again. Because Jared McCain's been on a tear so far. He's been averaging, he's been going out there putting up 20 plus points lately. And it's been amazing. It's been spectacular so far. Jared McCain is a rookie. He's actually going out there. He's scoring points. He's getting some rebounds. He's even scoring a few assists by averaging 3 assists. But you know what? That's great. We're seeing that from him as a rookie. That means there's only room for him to get better from there. Which makes me think maybe Jared McCain's one of the future guys for this team. And we saw last night the Sixers beat the Nets with Maxey and McCain starting. Now, granted, it was the Brooklyn Nets who only really got Cam Thomas as a reliable option. Yes, that is true. However, so far, Maxey stepped up without Embiid and Paul George. McCain stepping up, playing good so far. These guys are younger than Embiid. So there's a good opportunity to help build for the future by building around Maxey and McCain. And you get some cap space cleared. You trade Embiid maybe some point down the line. You can build around the team, build around really young team around those guys. Is with Maxey and McCain. That would be nice, but at the same time, with Daryl Morey being the president of basketball operations, do you really trust him to get it right? Do you really? But that's a whole nother subject in and of itself. I think maybe at this point, it might be time to start considering moving on from Embiid. Obviously, they're not going to trade him yet. We're kind of stuck with him for the season, but with this whole situation going down, we should obviously consider making a trade at this point. I mean, that's something we definitely have to. So we definitely got to consider trading for. We definitely got to consider making a trade at this point. But because really, how much longer? Obviously, the season's already in turmoil, and these players and Embiid doesn't look like he's getting on the same page with the team anytime soon. And we know and he's not getting any younger either. Hunter, how many more years do you have of peak Joel Embiid? How many more years do you have? Whereas with Tyrese Maxey, he's really just reaching his peak now. Jared McCain, he's still got his whole future ahead of him. I think at some point you got to make that move. Because what's going on here is, Joel Embiid's not happy with where he's at with the team. You got two young guys ready to step up and break through. Do you really want to continue to ride this thing out with a disgruntled Embiid? Because a disgruntled player can easily drag the morale of the locker room down. And I understand, you guys know that if you work for an organization, you got a disgruntled employee working with you guys. That's going to carries negative weight with you. If you work in any setting whatsoever, and you got a disgruntled employee in that setting constantly, picking gripes with people, constantly, holding grudges against this coworker, or this person didn't say good morning to me, or this person didn't respond to me the way I wanted them to respond to me, or they're always talking about you behind your back, stuff like that. That can create a toxic atmosphere. And the same goes in a sports locker room. It's no different there than it is in your regular jobs, where somebody's disgruntled. They have grievances with everyone. They don't seem to be 100% dedicated. And that's another point, too. You guys tie this into where you work. One moment, I'll share this out. There you go. It's right here. It looks like I'm going to have a guest joining me. Straight to the point sports and entertainment's probably going to pop in and join me. This will turn into a two-way discussion. We'll give it another minute. And as I was saying, now you can also, another thing you can tie into this as well that can, for those of you at your job, if you got someone that's supposed to be a leader that you look up to lead the way, a supervisor or a trainer or whoever, and they're not pulling their weight, say, how would you feel? You feel that's a burden right there. If someone that you feel is supposed to be a leader at your job isn't pulling their weight, they're not dedicating themselves, that can make you frustrated too. And it seems like that's the same thing that's going on in the Sixers locker room. Whenever you're ready, pop on in. Your mic's muted. Whenever you're ready.
Hey Nick, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for stopping by.
Not a problem, man. I always got to show you support, fellow Sixers fan. I'm a diehard Sixers fan too as well.
Right. So thanks for stopping by. So let me ask you, what's your take on the whole Embiid drama going on?
Whew. Well, first off, let me start off by saying this: the Embiid era is finished. Okay, and I've said that at least about 2, maybe 3 years ago. See, the fact of the matter is, Nick. Okay, let's let's rewind. Okay, you are a Sixers fan. Let's go back into time for a second, right?
Go for it.
First off, when Embiid first got to the league, his first 2 seasons, what was he doing?
He didn't play.
Exactly. He was on the bench looking. Okay. Now, also, what's the most what's the most games that Embiid has played?
Well, obviously, it's not 82. Hold on. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I know right off the top of my head.
Go for it.
It's about 60. It was to my knowledge, it was about 60 games. Embiid, it was like 60 something games, about 68 games. Embiid in his career, Nick. Well, my point is, he has never played 70 games, right? On top of that, last season he played 39 games. Now, here's the kicker, Nick. Here's the kicker. It gets even better, right? You have Tyrese Maxey, okay, who, if you go look at Tyrese Maxey, he's always good for 70 plus games, okay, because of course you have to meet the 65 minimum. Um, let's take an Iron Man, a classic Iron Man, such as Karl Malone. Okay, if you go and you go look at Karl Malone, you'll see 82, 82, 82, 81, 82, with the exception of of course, the lockout season or whatever. That was that half a season or whatnot. 49, and on top of that, when he had retired in the 2003-2004 season. My thing is this, Nick. Okay, you can sit up there, you can be talented and everything, but you can't never get us past the second round. Oh, but you're crying about MVPs, and you got this bravado about the 70 plus that you're putting up on a rookie Wemby. Okay, my thing is this: you're sitting up there and you're saying all this, but you're ready to go, and you're talking about the Olympics, and you can't even stay healthy, throughout the course of the season, and especially in the playoffs. Nick, check it out. Every playoff, he's what? He's hurt. He's
Exactly.
either playing on he's either playing on one leg, playing with one eye, the orbital bone, playing with one hand. You know what I'm saying? Knees and stuff like that. And my last point, Nick, because I know you got to keep going. This is my last point. You said that you were hurt and everything, but you came back and you played on that meniscus, in which you came back a little bit too early, and everybody was telling you to just go ahead and shut it down, right, Nick? But then you go over there to the Olympics. Okay, what we're expecting, Nick, we're expecting you to come back and at least play the preseason. And you didn't play the preseason, and you haven't played in the beginning. And then what do you come out with? The last thing we want to hear, Nick, is you talking about, oh, yeah, well, I'm not going to play back-to-backs. That's 30 games, according to Brian Windhorst, because that's 15 times 2. That's 30 games that you're missing. What was your excuse last night for you not playing, in which a rookie, Jared McCain, put up valuable points, and of course Tyrese Maxey? We showed that we could beat you, and we beat a Nets team that had a better record at 6-10.
Yep, absolutely. And that's at least, yeah, that's at least half the season if you're not going to play back-to-back games, barring you don't get a serious injury that causes you to miss longer, and that's crazy right there.
Right. And Nick, they used to talk about Iverson, about, oh, he was bad for the league and he had a bad image. One thing, he may have not shown up for practice, Nick, right? But guess what? One thing Iverson was going to show up was for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You
The
know,
only time I think he really missed time was like that 03-04. He missed some time due to injury. But other than that, he was always on the court.
Yeah, he was playing hurt. See, that's the thing. He was playing hurt, and he does play hurt and everything. But a lot of the stuff Embiid brings on himself, such as the work, the off-season habits, things of that nature, And then you've been in the league a decade. Nick, he's talking about trust the process. and all this other stuff. Now, granted, Nick, I got to say something. Ben Simmons, hey, he was just as much as fault as what took place because he had his issues and stuff like that. But when Ben Simmons left, last time I checked, we were supposed to actually go and propel because a lot of people were like, yeah, the big headache is gone and stuff like that. It hadn't gotten any better. Matter of fact, it got worse because guess what round we got out of last season? We got out of the first round.
Yeah, right. And obviously, the issues are much deeper than just Ben Simmons because one thing's consistent. Embiid's been there. We still can't get past second round with 3 coaches: Brett Brown, Doc Rivers, now Nick Nurse. That's been consistent. There's only a small ceiling with Embiid.
Facts. But I'm gonna tell you something, Nick, man, and this might hurt some people's feelings. I'm not gonna let Nick Nurse off the hook either, man. I know. Listen, I know he's a champion. Okay, can't take that away from him. Can't take that Raptors championship away from him. But I've started not to let him off the hook because I felt like Gershon. He sees now that Gershon is going to bring you energy. He sees that you can rely upon Jared McCain. You know what I'm saying? He's seeing that okay. Drummond. He's going to be a little inconsistent at times, but he understands that our youth that we have is valuable. But in the beginning, he wasn't doing that because it seemed like he was relying more on old ass Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry.
Right, and we got to focus on the younger players. They got to get the most playing time because they're the future.
And this is another thing too. He's getting mad. Embiid is getting mad because the story was leaked about Tyrese Maxey, of course, calling him out and stuff like that. Well, why are you getting mad? You act like that's the first time something that has happened. It lit a fire in you. Obviously, you're sitting there taking that out on the media when you should have been taking it out in the court, right, Nick? You act like that was something of the magnitude of what happened with Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. It wasn't no scuffle. Right. It wasn't no scuffle. So what are you crying about? No, Maxey was in the right. Okay. You do need to show up for practice on time. You need to show up for workouts on time. And you need to stop your lazy habits. But he's not going to do it, Nick. You know why? Because guess what? We turn around. Nick, we're looking for Embiid. Where's he at? Not playing. Having to rely on a rookie who got better leadership capabilities than you do.
Yeah, at this point, it's certainly true. And right, with Embiid, right, ties into what I've been saying earlier, that as the why Maxey's upset, the team looks up to an Embiid and he's not there for something important like a team meeting when the team's on the Titanic ready to sink and you're not there on time. Kyle Lowry has to be the one to call the meeting and get everyone there. I mean, that's the best thing about him. He at least had the courage to call the meeting as a veteran, but when the star player, the former MVP, is not there on time, what sign is that sending to the rest of the team that looks up to him?
That's 100% facts, and that's 100% correct. And that's why, on my channel, Nick, I always you'll be surprised at how many people go at me when I say that Maxey is our best player. You know what I'm saying? Okay, maybe Maxey, he's not at that talent threshold yet that Embiid is at in terms of offensive wise. But I'll take, like you said, leadership calling him out on his on what his failures are in terms of what he's not doing. I'll take his energy. I would take his passion. I would take him showing up. I would take him being readily available because the best ability is availability. And I'll take his leadership capabilities than to take a guy who every time you turn around, he's got a different excuse. He's hurt. He's not 100%, and you were supposed to be that leader and everything, and you talk a good game and stuff to the media and stuff, but yet and still you're not doing what a leader does, and you haven't exemplified that. So that's why a lot of people go, well, Maxie, he shoots horrible percentage and stuff like that. I could debunk that real quick. You know why, Nick? Look at Kobe Bryant, right? I love Kobe to death. Kobe Bryant shot a horrible percentage at times, but you know why? People don't talk about this, right? If you're exerting more energy on the defensive end, and you got a lot of responsibilities on on the table. You're having to fight through screens. You're having to guard. Sometimes the best player. Sometimes he's one night he's going to have to guard Morant. Then the next night he's going to have to guard Jalen Brunson. Then the next night he's going to have to guard De'Aaron Fox. Oh, you act like those guys are easy to guard. Oh, but you're saying, oh, he's shooting a low percentage. Da, 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 da. Well, yeah, because he's over there doing everything. Nick Nurse was damn near running him to the ground. He's putting up 40-something points and stuff like that on horrible shooting and stuff. But you're not seeing that this guy is rebounding. You're not seeing that this guy is running in transition. You're not seeing that he's getting back and everything. When he's having to play with guys that are older, and some of the guys are inexperienced. Jared McCain ain't never been to the playoffs in the Garden, having to play under pressure like he has. Andre Drummond, he don't really have no playoff experience like that. He ain't in a championship elite. Only people that were is Kyle Lowry, and that was a couple of seasons ago. So what I'm saying is like, you can criticize Maxey all you want about, oh yeah, his percentage is low, but go look at Kobe. He was guarding both, he was playing both ends of the floor, and he got tired of Shaq coming in out of shape. You know what I'm saying, Nick? Having to play his way into shape and stuff. Meanwhile, Kobe been putting up thousands of jumpers. He been running, lifting weights and stuff like that, and he called him out. So I applaud what Maxey did, and that's why I have him as the best player on our team.
Right. And a lot of people are leaning in that direction now too. It's not just a handful of fans. A lot of people are suggesting that they should build around Maxey for the future and let Jared McCain, based off what he's done so far, be the second piece.
But see, Nick, you and I both know it wasn't quite like that in the beginning. Especially, people were feeling themselves when he signed a 3-year extension. When we talk about Embiid, when he signed that extension, Nick, what came to your mind? You was like, oh Lord, another 3 years of this bullshit. I excuse my language. That's what I said.
At the time, a lot of people were on board of it, but now people are starting to realize that the problems that come with Embiid being there. Him not take, he gets too caught up in the trolling sometimes instead of taking things serious, such as the team meetings.
Right. Right. Yeah. He, and like I said, man, I don't want people to think that, okay, he's not talented or he's trash or something like that. That's not what we're saying. But okay, let's take Jokic for instance, right? Everybody's like, "Oh my God, you'll take Jokic over Embiid?" Absolutely. Who's number one in MVP ladder right now? Jokic. What does he average right now, Nick? Triple-double. 29, 13, and 11. Where is Jokic every season? More often than none, after his first couple seasons in the league, he was always getting closer and closer to a championship, and eventually he got that chip. He's either fighting for playoff supremacy, getting that Western Conference championship, or he's in the championship or whatnot. You see, last year, they couldn't keep up with Minnesota or whatever. but Embiid has never gotten that far. Only thing you have to show for anything is the MVP. Jokic got 3 of them. Jokic had the Finals MVP.
Right, so that's 4 MVPs.
Yeah, 4 MVP. Yeah, technically, yeah, that's 4. Jokic has a Larry O'Brien. So yes, I'm taking Jokic. You could do all that fancy stuff, and on top of this, Nick, you know this better than I do. Let's just call it what it is. Embiid has ducked the smoke time and time again when it comes to playing Jokic. He more often than not, he ain't gonna play in Denver.
Yep. And that right there is one of the things that separates good from great. The ability to step up to pressure.
And like I said, I'll take a okay, he's not, doesn't have all the fancy moves and all that other stuff. Jokic is a winner. At least I know Jokic is gonna show up. Jokic doesn't miss games.
Right, yeah, usually right. And when he's there, usually it's always either a deep run
Hmm.
or finals win with the Nuggets.
Right.
In the tougher conference, mind you.
Hmm. So and a lot of people that they had, I posed a question. They were like, yeah, should we tank for Cooper Flag? Now I know that tanking is really unrealistic because we don't have a first round pick until 26, right?
Right.
Because we gave up the rights to OKC if it's 1 through 6 or something like that. So we gave up that pick. So the likelihood of getting somebody like Cooper Flag, I'm sorry, is out of the question.
Sure, good. I think he has to attend to his kids real quick. I can hear it in the background, but we'll give it a minute. But so far, straight to the point's been on top. He's providing excellent analysis to this stream and helped keep it going. So shout out to Straight to the Point for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Nick. And I'm gonna definitely share your vid and everything on my platform and everything. I thank you for having me, brother.
Appreciate it. You're welcome. All right, I think he'll be right back in a minute. Yeah, I think he's gonna go share that out right now. Try to get some more people while we're here. And as of right now, I have about an hour. We'll see if we actually get to that point or not, discussion, but I'm just saying we got about an hour to finish. Yeah, excellent analysis here. The comparisons with Jokic, availability, production, big game situations, MVP discussion, all on point. And I also talked about the Kobe Shaq example of Kobe was always comparing Kobe to Tyrese, how they always have to play both sides of the ball, and sometimes that playing both sides of the ball can wear you out. Excellent, that can cause a lower shooting percentage. On the flip side, when you have to play both sides of the ball, you're shooting the ball more. You feel like you got more pressure on yourselves to shoot. Right, like case in point, for Maxey, he has to play both sides of the ball. He has to play defense and offense. That's a lot of wear and tear, having to run up and down the court the entire time. You got to go out there, play defense. Then you got to play offense and shoot the ball a lot. Yeah, that can wear you down throughout the game, but Maxey's still doing his best, busting his tail to help this team. You have to respect that. You have to respect that. And we're definitely at that point. We see Maxey putting in more of the workload. Embiid, especially this season, holy smokes, he's been lazy. And how much longer can this really go? At this point, how much longer can? At this point, we're kind of stuck with him for the season. We don't really have anything. We don't have the right piece to make a trade. We don't at the moment. We're going to kind of have to wait, try to pull off a trade. We talked about it with Embiid. Maybe the Rockets, maybe the Heat, since Embiid loves to play with Butler so much, but would the Heat be willing to go? Will be willing to take him on? Or are they like, no, we don't need Embiid. We built a good culture with our guys we got. With the Butler, Bam Adebayo, mostly younger role players that fit the role well. I don't think Pat Riley, do you think he's going to trust Embiid to fit there? So point getting is, I don't think that's a realistic trade because I don't really think Pat Riley's going to want Embiid. But at this point, the best option may be the Houston Rockets, but again, Ime Okafor won him. Now with all this baggage coming out, the way Embiid was acting like a diva about his being leaked instead of just owning up to it, his trade value might be lowering. Will teams want to take on that baggage? Well, Ime Okafor for the Rockets, potential trade destination, want to give up all those pieces for a guy who has habits of causing problems in the locker room, who's inconsistent in big game situations, who's got a reputation of being one of the big-time playoff chokers. And even, straight to the point said, Karl Malone, say what you want to say about him. This is not the time for that discussion. On the court, he was at least reliable to show up and play. I mean, you have to respect that. And that's one thing I can say, at least Malone showed up on the court. Embiid, he doesn't do that. To just feed off what straight to the point said. But at this point, the biggest burden right now is not having your star players there. It's the same issues with Paul George, always injured. You rarely see Paul George stepping on the court playing. He's had a long history with injuries, and the Sixers knew this when they took a chance on him. So that's the biggest problem right there. And ego, obviously, the second biggest problem, which me and Straight to the Point talked about that pretty much the last 40-plus minutes. Well, I think we're good. So I think we'll leave it at that. Sixers got a long road ahead of them. This is going to be a long season. We'll have to see what they can do in the offseason. Can they trade Embiid for futures? Maybe, maybe not. Time will tell. But it's going to be a long season ahead for the Sixers. We'll just have to see how things play out as the season goes along. Hopefully, Maxine and Jared McCain continue to hold it down for this team and at least do something for us. And like I said, Nick Nurse, he's got to lean more toward the younger guys. If you want to have Kyle Lowry there on the bench as a veteran to mentor, that's fine. But as the prominent starter, it's not really going to work out. But we just got to see where it goes from here. So thanks to Straight to the Point Sports and Entertainment for stopping by. Thanks for everyone that tuned into this impromptu Saturday stream. I hope you enjoyed. That's all I got for you for now. Until next time, your boy Nicky Stees signing off. Again, shout out to Straight to the Point Sports Entertainment for stopping by. Appreciate him for stopping by, adding some commentary to the stream. Thanks for everyone that watched. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. I'll be back Monday at noon to recap the Eagles game for my Eagles fans. So until then, might drop a few YouTube shorts about football and basketball in between. But for the meantime, have a great day. It's your boy Nicky Stees signing off. Peace.